Okay, I lost count of how many people have requested this show. It had a sporadic release that spanned several years, and I confess I watched it maybe once. By 1977, I was going to an ultra-conservative Bible school in Montana that had exactly one TV set. If you wanted to watch television, you had to go to the TV room and watch whatever the consensus was at the time. I had completely lost interest in TV by this time, so I was almost never part of the consensus. I usually had my nose in a book. But this show was a big part of a lot of people's youth, and because I respect my audience, I'm going to ask you to keep those comments pouring in and help me learn about this show. If I get something wrong, don't hesitate to pounce on it. And if I get something right, pounce on that even harder. My ego needs it. Okay, the Scooby-Doo knockoff may trip me up a little. I'll do my best, but part of the problem there is I'm a bit of a heretic. I never liked Scooby-Doo. I never found it funny or even interesting. Oh, stop screaming at the screen. I can't hear you anyway. I respect the fact that the show is an honest-to-goodness American phenomenon, and to millions of people it's right up there with other iconic shows like the original Star Trek. I really do respect that, as long as I get equal respect back for my opinion. And now that all that's out of the way, let's go enjoy this. Going by the gray hair and the mustache, I think it's Commissioner Gordon. When did he take up skiing?
Oops! Oh!
By the looks of that, he should have taken up something else. That UFO lands and we look in on our man.
Oh, that was a rather good spill. Ouch! I don't think I've done my leg much good.
Of course it's not Gordon. He doesn't have an English accent. The thing is, most any guy with gray hair and a mustache looks like Commissioner Gordon.
I say, whoever you are, I'm awfully glad to see you. I'm afraid I'll need your help to...
That guy looks like he took a spill of his own and rearranged his head. What's that beam doing to our British visitor? We won't find out until after we deal with this.
I can't break the grip. I'm powerless. Help me, someone.
In the Hall of Justice, the Super Friends look on as Superman pleads for help.
I think Superman needs help. What about it, Super Friends? Do we help him or not?
What do you think, chum?
He got himself into it, Batman. Let him get himself out of it.
We can see that that's Marvin's arm and Superman is playing with him. So I agree. If he can't get himself out of this mess, he needs to go back to being a reporter.
What about you, Aquaman? What do you think?
I agree with Robin. Besides, I don't think all of us can handle Superman's fantastic adversary.
Help! Please help! I can't hold out much longer.
We've got to help Superman, even if we all go down together.
You're right, Wonder Woman.
Okay, let's go.
So it's all of you now, huh? You'll have to catch me first.
Then never mind. He's too fast for us. Marvin is also trying to learn how to fly, with some success.
Marvin!
Huh?
So help me, Marvin. If you land with a thud and ruin the cake I baked for our Super Friends meeting, I'll never forgive you.
Like, wow! I haven't mastered a soft landing yet. Whew, thanks, Wonder Dog. You saved me from a fate worse than death. I'll make sure you get an extra big piece of cake. Okay, 2 pieces, Wonder Mouth.
Emphasis on some success. Frank Welker voiced both Marvin and Wonder Dog, and I can't help but think the similarity of the voices to Shaggy and Scooby is a bit deliberate. But playtime is over. They have a machine called a Trouble Alert, and it's making all kinds of curious noises.
It's on the Donner Pass, somewhere in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Something's gone wrong with a giant freight train.
I could talk about Donner Pass all day long. I spent a lot of time driving back and forth through it when I lived in California. But the train is more interesting. Its engines are putting out plenty of horsepower, but the horses aren't going. That's our boy with the funny ears and the fancy belt buckle. That beam made him look like our English almost a skier, and he's controlling that flying saucer. He's making it steal all the train's power. The more the engineers floor it, the more power flows into his reservoirs aboard that craft. The train won't make it to the top of that hill, and their brakes can't hold the whole thing in place. They're starting to roll back down. I have a small problem with that because the way train brakes work, all the cars have them. They operate on air pressure, and when an engineer hits the brake, all the cars put the brakes on. This train doesn't seem to do that because they have a brake handle on the engine and one on the caboose. They'd do better trying to put rocks behind the wheels.
Super calamities! The freight train is starting to roll back down the grade.
And there's a passenger train stranded at the bottom. It's out of power, too.
I'll get this one, friends. Stopping trains is my specialty. California, here I come!
Because their headquarters is in that other place over there that's not California.
Should be reaching Donner Pass any moment now.
He forgot his road atlas, so he has to follow Interstate 80 and hope for the best.
It's no use. I can't get a solid footing on this soft ground. There's just too much weight. The bridge. It's my only chance.
If he knocks out the bridge so this train goes plummeting into that ravine, it'll keep it from plowing into that other train. Crisis averted, sort of.
Just in time for the roller coaster special.
Superman badly underestimated the train's momentum. Observers never forgot the day that they saw an entire freight train go.
Another trouble alert. It's the new luxury liner, the Queen Victoria.
On her maiden voyage, but she should be steaming into harbor soon. What's gone wrong, Wendy?
It's a storm, and the Queen Victoria is right in the middle of it.
Like that shouldn't be a problem for a big, new, powerful ship like the Queen Vic.
Run that by again, Marvin. Only drop the word power.
It's having the same problem that the train did. Lots of engine power, none of it getting to the propellers. This one's for Aquaman. Wonder Woman will fly into the ship in her transparent plane. Our disguised alien is going around causing all this trouble. The question, as always, is why?
As Aquaman swims toward the foundering ship, something wraps itself around his leg. Thinking it is only a strand of seaweed, he tries to swim on, but finds himself caught in an iron grip. It is then Aquaman realizes he's being held fast, not by seaweed, but by a renegade giant anemone.
Anemones don't reach out and grab stuff. The stuff comes to them. The tentacles drift in the current, and every so often something edible drifts into them. They aren't especially strong, which is why they have these nasty little things called nematocysts all over them. Nematocyst is a fancy word that means stinger. When a small fish or crustacean or someone else hits one of those, they get stung and stunned, often paralyzed. Once the prey can't move, the anemone can pull it in and eat it. It's a good thing Aquaman wears clothes, or where that thing is holding him could ruin his whole week. He puts out a call to a bunch of octopi, as the narrator calls them, or octopuses, as many other people call them. Both are correct. Aquaman doesn't care what you call them as long as they get him out of this thing.
Aquaman should have everything under control by now.
Right. And we'll be at the coast to pick him up in a couple of minutes.
Holy hang-ups, Batman. Look, that crane is out of control.
I see it, chum. You'll have to make a fast detour.
No problem. Just toss those guys some crazy glue and they'll be fine.
Bill, I can't hold on any longer.
Joe! Joe!
Their calamity happened for the same reason as all the others. Suddenly the crane wasn't getting any power, so they had no control over it. Much like the Queen Victoria.
Captain! Captain, look! It's Aquaman! He's shouting something!
We'll never hear him above the storm, and we're almost upon the rocks.
Look! He's semaphoring! A-N-C-H! Anchor!
They haven't dropped anchor yet. The second the power stopped and they began drifting, that should have been their first move. Instead, they have to have a guy standing on a whale wigwagging it to them.
Give the order to drop anchors!
But they'll never hold.
That's an order!
Does he think Aquaman doesn't know that? Once the bloomin' things are down there, he and the Octos move the anchors and secure them to some good solid rocks. The scuba guys who dive deep wrecks do the same thing. They drop the anchor and then one guy goes down and secures it to something. It's standard operating procedure. Obviously, nobody on the ship knows how to do that, but they should have a fair idea that the guy standing on a big sea mammal might, and he does, and they're working. The ship is safe.
I say, I was watching from the jetty, and I saw you signal the captain in semaphore fashion to lower the anchor. I assume, dear young lady, that your friend has anchored the ship to a rock formation on the ocean floor. Magnificent piece of work, my good man. My congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have some special interest in the Queen Victoria?
A very special interest. I'm Sir Cedric, Special Inspector, Scotland Yard.
He says, our British ships have been attacked by what appears to be a power pirate. They exchange a few more pleasantries and the Super Friends are off. While they're discussing Sir Cedric with Superman, the trouble alert goes off yet again.
It's the dam. There's no power to close the floodgates.
This one's mine, everyone! Like, what's the address of the dam, Wendy?
Just follow the river 11 miles upstream and eventually you'll come to it.
Come in, Wonder Woman.
I'm already on top of it, Batman. If the water spills over, everything in its path will be swept away. I've got to stop that from happening.
But she's going to need help from the rest of the team.
Robin, Aquaman, Superman, to the Batmobile. This is a job for all of us.
Excuse me, world's greatest detective, but why does Superman need a Batmobile?
No offense, Batman, but I can get us there faster than your Batmobile.
That's okay, Superman. I can get more miles to the gallon this way.
That answers my question. Superman needs a Batmobile to carry people in.
There's the dam, Superman! And there's Wonder Woman! She stopped the water by making an earthen dam.
Or not. An earthen dam is good, a rockin' dam is better.
The basin will overflow any minute now unless we shut off those floodgates.
One for each of us. Okay, we'll try it from here, while Batman and Robin try it from the other side.
Superman, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman have super strength. Batman has...
Look, it's Wonder Woman.
She's in trouble!
I'll get her.
Batman has good eyes and a strong rope.
But what about the floodgates?
2 down and 1 to go.
Never mind, they didn't need either of you. How's it feel to be extraneous? At HQ, they're discussing the likelihood that Sir Cedric is right. They're dealing with a power pirate.
And could it be, Super Friends, that this power pirate is determined to cause a worldwide energy crisis?
That's it.
No question about it.
Great Athena, could it be?
Holy atoms!
Like, wow!
But why?
I like how Wendy is the only one with the presence of mind to ask that question instead of just making a generic exclamation.
Question is, how do we fight something like that?
We drop our defensive posture and assume a preventive one. We'll have to stop these power failures before they can happen.
Right on! Like we'll have to juice up our current efforts. Juice? Current? You get it?
Marvin tries so hard. I'll just leave it at that.
Now, we'll cover as many potential trouble spots as we can. Wonder Woman, you cover the oil cracking plant. Superman, you cover the space launch. And Robin and I will cover the geothermal plant.
An oil refinery, I guess, a space launch, and a geothermal generating plant. One of these things is not like the others. And that thing is not like any of them. Where are they?
That's pretty far out.
Huh? What's far out?
Nothing, Marvin. Something puzzled me for a moment, but, well, I guess it's not important.
Okay, Wendy, then I'll tell you what puzzles me. Like, why did I let you talk us into coming out here on a night like this when we were told to stay back at the Hall of Justice?
Because doing what you're told is for squares, man. They'll go poke around inside, but without warning, they're hearing footsteps that aren't theirs.
Look!
After him!
The lights!
Yeah, and like it looks like whoever it was went out with the lights.
They couldn't tell that it's Sir Cedric. This is a long chase, but the three of them provide enough comic relief to keep it enjoyable. Eventually, they trap the mystery man in a locker room.
Super fantastic, Wonder Dog! You captured the Power Pirate!
Ready?
I'm afraid, my dear young people, that the Power Pirate has escaped.
Sir Cedric!
I almost had my hands on him when those swinging locker doors trapped me.
This umbrella is dry.
Whereas Sir Cedric and they aren't. She'll file that tidbit away for consideration later.
But we thought you were just concentrating on ships at sea, Sir Cedric.
Well, actually, I must admit I've had second thoughts about what your young costume friend said.
You mean Robin saying that there was a connection between the Queen Victoria and the runaway freight train?
Yes, and the news on the telly, the trouble at the dam. That's why I came here tonight. I had a feeling the culprit might make a go at it here.
Which he already did. There's no power leaving this plant the usual way. Nobody can tell where it is going. The next day, a series of power-related calamities keeps the whole bunch busy rescuing planes, freeing stuck submarines, and replacing the beacon in a lighthouse. But they'd need 100 members to keep up with what the Power Pirate is doing. The city is a mess and nobody knows what to do. Wendy decides to speak up.
Remember when Marvin and Wonder Dog and I went to the electrical generator plant on that stormy night? Well, I looked up above the plant, and shining through all that lightning and thunder was a full moon. Well, I know it sounds like nothing by itself, everyone, but remember when we told you about catching Sir Cedric of Scotland Yard by mistake?
Yes, Wendy?
Well, he was soaking wet from the rain. But when I picked up his umbrella, it was dry.
Airborne spherical UFO noted in vicinity of power losses.
And nobody thought to tell them because...
Looks like you hit on something, Wendy. There must be a connection between the UFO and the power losses.
Super groovy. Now, what about Sir Cedric?
We'll check our Good Guys International file. I have a feeling, Super Friends, that there is no Sir Cedric of Scotland Yard.
That's why you asked to see his ID, which none of you ever did.
Sir Cedric. We'll get one of two readings. A blank screen, except for the printout, stating there is no Sir Cedric. Or we'll get a picture of Sir Cedric and a printout stating he's not with Scotland Yard.
Here it comes.
Or they'll get a printout that says Sir Cedric is exactly who he says he is.
A patient at Central Hospital in Ski Valley for the past week.
Huh? But how could Sir Cedric be in the hospital and everywhere else at the same time?
Oh, I don't know. An impostor? I repeat, that's why you asked for his ID. I doubt the alien thought to grab it.
This is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying Superman Airlines. Fasten your seatbelts. We're heading for a landing at Central Hospital.
I told you before he didn't need the Batmobile.
That's right. I came here on a holiday to get in a bit of skiing at your famous ski valley. And, as you can see, the skiing got a bit of me.
Sir Cedric, did anything unusual happen to you before the accident?
Well, no, it was the usual stupid thing. I shushed when I should have slalomed. Oh, you mean something strange?
Yes, Sir Cedric.
Well, no. I can't say that anything did. But the only thing that happened was that I became delirious.
He described seeing a weird creature, a bright light, and then suddenly seeing himself. He can even describe the spaceship. He assumed he was hallucinating.
And my newly created twin carried me to the hospital and left me in the emergency room.
It physically carried you, and it doesn't occur to you that that was the most vivid hallucination anybody ever saw? Despite the inspector's less than stellar observational skills, the team knows what they're dealing with now.
Batman, the Big Eye has just reported sighting the UFO over the new nuclear generator plant.
Of course. The opening ceremonies are today. We'll meet you there. And keep your eye out for Sir Cedric, the phony one. We'll explain later.
For now, just know that if he's walking on two good legs, he's the phony. That should be easy enough to remember.
Have you spotted Sir Cedric?
Not yet, but he'll be here. It's too big a catch for him to pass up.
I say, everyone, I see you've the same, what is it you say, hunch that I have.
Shh! I think I spotted him.
The power pirate would be a fool to pass this one up.
Right on, Sir Cedric.
Well, luck to us all. He is a tricky one.
And now, in a few moments, I shall push this start button and thereby release the most tremendous surge of power ever created by man.
The mayor's hair provided by the Wizard of Oz.
I say, everyone, will you excuse me? I left something outside.
Certainly, Sir Cedric. Don't be long.
I shan't.
I say, everyone, I left I left something outside. He doesn't know that they know.
What?
We're shutting off your power, Mr. Power Pirate. You're now under the control of my golden lasso. It will force you to tell us the truth.
He says, you don't need that. I'll tell you everything. He knows when he's defeated.
I am Anthro from the planet of Traum, in a far distant galaxy.
You have to admit, Anthro was a lot more interesting looking than Sir Cedric. You've seen one Englishman with a hat and a mustache, you've seen them all.
I beg your pardon.
Present company included, of course.
Bingo.
I've been stealing your energy because my people ignored the warnings of our conservationists and used up the energy resources of our planet. We built bigger and more powerful machines. We neglected. And so, that is my story, super friends. Without energy, our planet is doomed.
It never occurs to them to ask. They always just try to take. I have no problem with the idea that there are other species out there, but if they're anything like the ones we see in these stories, why do we want to contact them?
I am truly sorry for what I've done on behalf of my people. We had no right.
You just now figured that out. I repeat, ask. And despite your shenanigans, the Super Friends are going to help get some power back to your planet.
Anthro, is this the planet of Traum on your monitor?
Yes, that is my planet.
And this body over here?
That is merely our moon.
Not merely a moon, Anthro. The new power plant for your planet.
A power plant? But how?
I will use my superpowers to polish it until it's as smooth as glass.
And if it's as smooth as glass, it will reflect the power-giving sunlight to Traum.
The sunlight can't reach Traum now because where is their sun? Why am I asking silly questions? It's time for the moral of the story.
Now, what do you suppose that's all about?
Don't ask me.
Me either. Okay, let's split.
Where to?
To the city dump.
Yeah.
So we can get rid of all these things that use up energy, We don't want the Earth to end up like the planet of Trome.
The first time he bangs his shin on a piece of furniture in the dark, he'll figure out that he's going a little overboard.
That's a fine thought, Marvin and Wonder Dog. But we don't have to get rid of everything. We just have to conserve our energy. Like remembering to turn off the TV set when we're not watching it.
And by turning off the lights when we leave the room.
And by remembering not to leave the record player running.
There's a difference between using energy and wasting it. But we have an advantage that Trome apparently doesn't. Our planet rotates so everything gets sunlight. And speaking of rotating, I can hear at least one viewer saying, "What's a record player?" I see why everyone has been asking for this show. This is a kick. There's a lot of filler, but you don't notice it unless you're looking for it. That's because it's good filler. Most of the time, we're either repeating some information that we need to know, or else Marvin and Wonder Dog are making us laugh. It's been a long time since I saw an hour-long cartoon that was done this seamlessly. The pacing is excellent, and things fit together in a way that I couldn't swear I've seen before, at least not on this channel. If the rest of the episodes are as well done as this one, then saddle up, folks. This am gonna be fun. Engineers floor. Vancouver. Peter of